We made some, Marcus, obviously his shot was amazing, won the game, but I thought Gabe Kalsher hits 2 big free throws, draws a charge. Isaiah comes in the game at the end, blocks the shot. There was a lot of other winning plays. Marcus, certainly his play was fantastic, but we're constantly talking about the 95% that you do when you don't have the ball. And we just found a way towards the end there to do that versus a tough team.
The Gophers last night.
Really, Richard.
Big last-second victory. Marcus Carr, dagger 3 from the right wing.
Bang.
Richard, I like you, but really, you did that?
What do you mean?
You like that?
Marcus, yeah.
You like that?
I'm going to stop. Don't do the Zim. Do you like how that tastes? That freaks me out. I don't like
that.
Like
that, Gabe? You
no,
like
stop. Don't.
So, I heard it all week long, right? 0-9 on Monday night. Yeah. You like how this tastes?
Do you know what else is wrong with that? It's also how it's not just the words themselves, it's how he presents them. It's like he's standing on the corner of 7th and Hennepin at
like how this tastes?
At midnight on a Saturday saying
it's me on Washington and 3rd Avenue most Friday, Saturday nights.
Play it again and just listen to how he says the last line.
So I heard it all week long, right? 0-9 on Monday night. Yeah. You like how this tastes?
You like that? You like that bourbon hit? You like that?
I mean, it's
like that seltzer taste.
It's like I want to call the cops.
He wanted so bad.
Yeah.
He wanted this so bad.
Hey, you held him to 20 points, man. You gave us a chance at the end, but I got 3 words for you. You like that?
You could tell he was probably searching for the phrase, oh my God, I had it. What was it? Oh no. You like how this tastes?
But it's just, it's like an HBO show about a coach who's about to get arrested.
Anyhow,
it's just sort of it's just a very creepy thing.
For the Gophers.
Yeah, Gopher basketball. So anyway, Richard Pitino, God bless you. Kalsher did make some key plays. I actually want to talk about Gabe a little bit here in a second, but there were some nice plays made. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say I saw somewhere a few weeks ago that Pitino's desire is to get Marcus Carr's playing time this year down a little bit, because there were Big Ten games, especially last season, when Marcus Carr towards the end looked like he was about to collapse. Like they literally had to drag him to the bench, okay? I got news for you, Richard. His playing time is not coming down. This kid has gone from, he was, I thought, last season, a very solid, good player. I mean, he was very good. He has now taken the next step, in my opinion, to Big Ten star. Let me go through the scoring in 3 games. And now these are not against great teams.
No, I mean, Loyola Marymount finishes like 5-13 in the West Coast
exactly
Conference,
right.
So
but I still want to go through what he means to his team. Marcus Carr.
Green Bay is vaunted, though.
Green Bay, which has been, I mean, come on, they've been to the tournament probably at some point in time, 15 years back. Anyway, he scored 35 points in that game, 30 minutes of playing time. On Saturday night, he has a big first half, not as great in the second half, 28 points in 37 minutes of playing time. Last night, gets off to a rough start, and then in the second half, dominates 26 points in 36 minutes of playing time. In other words, the last 2 games, he's basically played the entire game. But the thing to me about him that's so important is they took him out in the second half last night briefly and put Jamal Mashburn Jr. in, who is a freshman and his backup, and he might be fine. I have no clue. But the Gophers, in the time that Marcus Carr was out, the Gophers fell behind, looked completely lost, looked at times sort of distraught, and Marcus Carr basically said, I'm going back in, give me the damn basketball, we'll win.
Yeah.
And then he hits the shot near the end that wins the game, which is just a cold-blooded dagger shot. The point being is this guy is going to have to play the entire game in most games. If you're barely getting by a team like this, I think he's going to have to play almost the entire game in most Big Ten games.
He does. First of all, I agree with everything you're saying. I don't mean to be mocking when it comes to their early season opponents. These are the types of teams that you play in November and December.
Desperately trying to find teams to play.
Yep. And I don't know how this college basketball season's even going to proceed forward, because just the outbreaks are only going to get worse and worse over the next month and a half with holiday gatherings and stuff. So
Mr. Sunshine.
we'll see. But
Hold on, you're scaring me now.
I agree that Marcus Carr is awesome. And Marcus Carr is probably the best, most dangerous scoring guard I can think of. They've had a couple decent guards. Like Nate Mason was a good guard, but like what Nate Mason was a great steady force for a team that went to the NCAA tournament a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Carr is levels better, getting his own shot, going on runs that can carry a team, 30-point games, right? Like he's miles better than even Nate Mason was. And the amazing thing, you mentioned it, he doesn't sit.
I know, and you can't sit him.
He averaged 37 minutes per game last year. These are 40-minute games. He's literally resting for like a minute and a half in the first half, and then a minute and a half in the second half.
And they fall apart when he's
in.
out now.
And I think for him, the thing to watch is, does he get a little bit too hero ball mode? Does he feel like I'm the only one that can score? I would, if I were Richard Pitino, and I'm sure he's doing this, I would encourage him to use his skill sets, because he's a little bit like Diet Russell Westbrook in some ways. He can rebound a little bit.
Yeah.
He can get to different spots on the court.
Yeah.
And I would recommend that he uses his skill sets to open up avenues for teammates so that the Gophers can have a little bit more of a multifaceted attack.
Yep.
And then get into that sniper mode and that that Kobe mode at the end of games.
So the first portion of the first half on Saturday, Phil, he tried. Like, he was passing to everybody. He was not trying to shoot, and they could not make a shot. And so he basically is like, okay, guess I'll shoot. So I think he very much is into trying to do what you're talking about, which is distribute the ball. I'm the point guard. I lead this team. But the fallback ultimately with him is, okay, we've just missed 6 consecutive shots. I guess I'll shoot.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Second point, I want to ask you a question. Do you have a theory? And confidence plays a role in the question I'm about to ask. I completely get that. But Gabe Kalsher, okay? So I covered the game, the NCAA win over Louisville and Des Moines a couple years back, where Gabe Kalsher went off and looked fantastic, okay? He started to struggle at some point in time with his shot, and especially the three-point shot last year. In the first 3 games this year, 1 for 8 on threes against Green Bay.
Yeah.
Didn't attempt one on Saturday. 0 for 4 and looked lost on 3-point shots last night. And last night, 1 for 11 total from the field. How can a guy who has what looks like a really pretty good shot shoot this poorly?
It is weird. He reminds me, I told you this off microphone. He reminds me when I was early 2000s, I was a student at the U of M. And one of my favorite players when he was a freshman was Michael Bauer. I don't know if you guys remember Michael Bauer. He was kind of this like raggedy haired,
big white kid, right?
Big white kid. And his freshman year, he came in and just was a 3-point sniper, was just this bolt of energy off the bench. And he just never got better. Like, by the time he was a senior, I think he was a worse shooter. And he just, not that he was ever NBA bound, but it was like, wow, this guy's
Kalsher's
lights
got
out.
a nice looking shot. Like, it looks like it should work, right?
And he's just like, even last year, I know that last year he probably felt pressure because there just weren't that many great options for scoring on the team. He felt more pressure to heave shots up and maybe had some more contested looks.
Sure.
I don't have stats on that, but so some of it's like, okay, he's taking more contested shots than maybe when he was wide open as a freshman 2 years ago. But it is concerning to see his field goal percentage dropped off last year, and 3-point percentage went down by 7. And now it's 3 games to start the season, but against weak competition. It's not like you're being guarded, by Kentucky freshmen here. Okay.
Yes.
And he's shooting 27% to start the first 3 games. It's a little bit concerning. You'd like to think when you watched him as a freshman, you were thinking, boy, this is going to be a sniper shooter for 4 years, like a Blake Hoffarber type guy.
That's what I thought exactly.
Yeah, but we'll see. I don't know.
It's weird.
It's 3 games, and it's such a weird start to the season, and they've had to stop practice a couple times because of COVID scares.
Okay,
So
but if
we'll
you
see.
can make the threes, you can make the threes. I would hope. Like
says this guy right
Kalsher
here.
looks like he should make the three. Look.
There's
I'm
a
not.
gift saved on my laptop.
I'm not,
of all this.
listen, you two. I'm not paid
That was
to
before I
make
even
threes.
worked here.
Okay,
This is before I
I'm
even
not
worked here the
paid
second
handsomely.
time
I'm
I
not saying
saved that.
Kalsher's paid, but I'm saying he's a Division I basketball player.
Don't make us bust out the SKOR North Athlete Challenge again here.
Oh, God.
But I never.
Big talker.
But you know what? I didn't have a great NCAA first round tournament game. That's the difference. Last point. Booth Gotch can play. Booth Gotch is going to be
Good.
a nice addition. He is he's a little bit sporadic at times, but he can score, he can run. He is an athlete. I think he's going to be among the guys that they have brought in as either transfers. I think he is going to be the guy who has an immediate impact. He's a really nice player.
Yeah, you'd like to see Pitino's done a really good job with transfers, just like where you look at the roster after a season's done and you're like, oh my God, who's going to play next year?
Just like Marcus Carr.
And then the season rolls around. It's like, oh, he found 3 like really good players who are transfers.
Yep.
And I think, and he's done a better job in-state recruiting than people give him credit for, because he like Daniel Aturu is an NBA draft pick that was in-state. They kept him. And I think people are looking at, well, there was like 4 or 5 other guys that were draftable or got drafted, and they're from Minnesota. Why weren't they in the mix to be Gophers? And I think that's been the major criticism is, can you get a couple of these top
That's
star
exactly right.
players to
Yes.
stay?
Yes, exactly.
But Gopher basketball, 3-0, baby. Back-to-back wins over Loyola Marymount to start the season.
Loyola Marymount. Thanks for coming in, guys.